Hi, this is Michael Jacobs, and welcome to Essential Golf with Erica Larkin, and we're going to talk about hammering that 3-wood attack into the green. You know, the 3-wood is an interesting club. It's changed a lot over the years. You go back years ago and people used to take their 3-wood out and hit it from all different types of lies, have success, and try to pick up distance in the fairway. Well, things have changed a bit for the 3-wood. It's gotten a lot longer and the head has gotten bigger. The extra length of the club has made it more difficult to hit from all different types of lies. So I think what you need to do when you're selecting your 3-wood is make sure that you select enough loft. I think traditional lofts of 13 degrees, 14 degrees, even 15 degrees might not be enough due to the length of the club and the large shape of the head to get enough a launch. So you might want to look into a higher lofted 3-wood and you'll actually get more distance out of it because the carry will be much better. When you're getting into the actual technique of hitting the 3-wood, due to the modern equipment, the strike has to be pretty and fairly level, almost like a sweep. The downward strike on the ball is very minimal, and it's due a lot to the characteristics of the club. So when the club is coming in very level into impact, it is more subjected to higher grass, different lies. You know, if it's on a little bit of a side hill or a little bit of a downhill, it becomes more difficult to make the right type of contact. And you add in the length of the club, and now you have a whole nother dimension. So I think before you get into the subject of effectively hitting a 3-wood, first you have to make sure you're using it at the right times. And I think the right times to use a 3-wood has gotten less and less. It almost has to be in ideal conditions or off a tee to really get the traditional lofts of the 3-wood in use. When you're also thinking about when to use it in certain lie types, is always assess what's behind the ball. You're going to select a club and shot based on its surrounding lie. So it's really very subjective.
Yeah, if you have a less than perfect lie and you've got some medium length first cut rough or something like that, it might be better to use a higher lofted fairway wood or even a hybrid to get the ball up and out of that kind of lie, and save the 3-wood for when you really have a clear shot to the green. You're not worried maybe about having perfect carry distance, because certainly with such low loft and a long club, it's hard to launch the ball high enough. Even with the modern technology and how they've been building these 3-woods better, they're not easy clubs to hit. So I think another key point to understand is when you're hitting a iron versus a fairway wood, the setup in and of itself dictates, because of the length of the club, different lie angles, and you can see how much steeper an iron sits up towards me versus this fairway wood. And so the farther away I am and the flatter the lie angle is, it does justify a flatter approach to the ball and overall a flatter swing plane. So when you're making practice swings with your fairway wood, if you've just hit, let's say, a driver off the tee, or maybe you hit an iron on a par 3 hole on the hole before, you have to give yourself a chance to take a couple of practice swings, rehearse what lie you're standing on, and really make sure you sweep the ground a couple of times before you get up and just give it a whirl, so that you can adjust your swing plane, the angles of attack coming into the ball. That's really going to help you get the right feel for the club before you go ahead and hit it.
Yeah, so Erica, take that setup with the 2 different clubs again. And to expand on what she was saying here, is due to the fact that the iron and the 3-wood are different characteristics, you could expect that the 3-wood is going to swing much more like the driver. So the path that the hands take are going to be much closer to the path that the club takes. And with an iron, the path that the hands take are going to be much more vertical than they would be with a 3-wood. So when it comes to hitting and hammering that 3-wood shot, make sure your lie is how you like it. Make sure you can execute. Pick a 3-wood that's the right length for you with the right amount of loft, and understand that it's not really a hybrid shot between an iron and a wood. That's what the hybrids are. It's very close to the driver swing. It's the same length as the driver was 20 years ago, but now it's almost as if you go back 20 years and you were hitting a driver off the ground. That's really what it's become.
Yeah, we know how hard it is to hit driver off the deck. So don't put too much pressure on yourself, but practice. And one last tip is remember that there is a ball position adjustment with your fairway wood, which again brings in more room behind the ball for the grass to come into play. So we typically move the ball a little forward in our stance as we go to set up, just like we would for driver. So if a driver ball position is just off the inside of the front foot, 3-wood or 5-wood is going to really be up in that ballpark as well. So there's a lot of room to come in and sweep into the ball with the ball position being that far forward in your stance. It helps with helping to hit up on the ball a little bit as you come through, but you have to be careful that the ball is in the right spot, because if it's too far forward, you'll hit it thin, and if it's too far back, you're going to start hitting down on the ball, which is not exactly what we want to have happen with such a long club like this.
I think it's the hardest shot. It's the one iron. They used to say years ago, oh, nobody can hit a one iron. Now it's, become the 3-wood. So Erica, what's your loft on your 3-wood that you have?
I actually have a 5-wood head with a 3-wood shaft, so I get the benefit of the more lofted head, like a 21-degree head, and then from there I have the length of a 3-wood so that I can hit it a little bit farther.
Yeah, I use a 16.5 degree, which could be considered a 3/4 wood. So hopefully that helps you hit your 3-woods a little better, and hope you enjoyed this Essential Golf video.